The games have gotten started. Here we go.
Right. Exactly. Okay, yeah. So, okay. So we have a Sicilian. Wait, who's white? Voyboy's white, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So Voyboy plays this with black as well. So they both play this opening. So it's going to be interesting to see what Voyboy has prepared specifically, since he plays this from the other side too.
Yeah, he plays. So usually when you play against someone who plays your similar opening, do you feel like you get more confident, or it actually kind of trips you out a little bit?
Sometimes I would say it trips me out a little bit. Oh, what did Hutch just do? He just put up his hand like he'd never seen this before. Was A6 a slip? Oh,
Ooh.
I'm wondering if Hutch meant to go G6 and he just somehow he confused the pawns, like just in his mind for like a split second or something.
Well, let's take a listen on Hutch. Maybe he's gonna tell us what happened. Okay, he's very focused here. I mean, even with that blunder, I mean, he's still fine.
Mm-hmm.
Hikaru told me to push in the center.
Credit to his coach there.
This guy wants to trade down like right away.
I'm getting word that his audio is muted, but I can't tell if chat is just trolling.
Okay,
us.
so
no, I hear Hutch's Hutch's audio.
Thanks.
I don't know if they were saying him or they're saying that I'm muted because I didn't respond to that comment.
Ah, okay.
Don't want to trade.
So here Hutch should probably move
down.
his queen out of the center of the board. That would be the best move that he could play, like queen to B6 here.
Yeah, and if he does
trade this piece down is if I can open the center of the board, and I think he can just lock it down. We've reached a critical moment.
Well, what do you think of his opening so far? Is he slightly worse here? He's a little lower on the clock.
Yeah, I mean, I think White's maybe a little bit better, but queen to B6 is a very strong move if Hutch finds it. And I think he will find it. I think, okay, he goes bishop E7 instead. The only issue for black here is that his light squared bishop can get stuck behind this pawn wall very easily in this position. So that's the big danger here for Hutch in this position. Whereas Voyboy's moves are much more straightforward. Although now you can play pawn takes pawn. Oh, there's a big trick here.
If I push, he pushes, right?
Pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn, you pawn to E5. Which would be really, really nasty because after knight takes, so pawn takes pawn. Oh, okay, it doesn't do it. Plays D5. Which also, by the way, is a good move too.
Right. It's a very standard move. He's grabbing space in the center here. If E takes D5, then he can fix the position of his pawns. So a solid move, and he played it pretty quickly too. Let's see. Voyboy continues with E5, so he's keeping the position closed, but I really like C takes D4 now, because if knight takes D5, he has C5 with tempo, and I'm starting to like his pawn structure. It looks like a good French.
Right. At this point, Hutch is doing very, very well. He can probably push his pawn to C5 next move, and I like what Hutch has done. I think Hutch is doing extremely well out of this opening phase. It feels like a position that Hutch will also be able to just make natural looking moves and finish his development. And he really likes the two bishops, which shows a very deep positional understanding and a deep love of these like kind of very technical middle games. So from Hutch's side, I think that he's got a great position here. Two bishops, just really, really nice.
Right. One challenge for him, though, will be where is he going to put his knight on G8? Because he can't go to F6. H6 looks a little bit scary because he has to be willing to open up his king side and double up his pawns. And the knight obviously can't go to E7 because the bishop is there. So even though he has a nice position, his development isn't that straightforward.
Correct. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the only drawback here. But again, I don't like this position for Voyboy. I really think that the only thing he has here is that black cannot easily develop that knight and get the king out of the center of the board. But the two bishops, once the diagonals open up, will be really, really powerful. Like bishop b7 and the idea of pawn to d4. And I think that it's really, really a really nice position for Hutch to have at this point in the game.
Yeah, I don't disagree there. They're also very similar in the time situations. So if you take that into account, it seems like Hutch is the one who has played the opening better.
Definitely, yeah.
But let's listen also to what voyboy is thinking. I mean, obviously, both sides still have chances here. Switching to his stream now. He's just very focused.
Mm-hmm.
It's good because he's thinking on Hutch's move, and that's something you should always be doing to try to save as much time as you can, especially in these short time formats.
Right, agreed. Yeah. So yeah, at this point, I think I mean, it's important that Hutch makes some of the moves relatively quickly. Like here, bringing the bishop and pushing the pawn in the center
behind each of
feels
his
very
moves?
thematic, but it's not so easy to spot this, especially when there's a lot of pressure here. But I do expect Hutch to find something along these lines. But that being said, voyboy is so quiet right now. He's just not talking.
He's too deep in thought. I mean, his development I think seems a little bit easier actually because he can castle very soon. He can take his knight out to c3.
Push the pawn.
Ooh, queen b6 is a nice tricky move.
Yeah, it's a very, very nice move here by
So he's gonna have to protect b2. He can push the c pawn and defend it with his queen. That's one option he has here. He can also push the b pawn, I guess, with an idea c4, but it does weaken his dark squares a little bit. I think I would have preferred c3 in that position.
Yeah, c3 probably was a more thematic move that he should have played, but at this point in time, I think it's still very unclear. It's still very, very unclear for both sides. The game, I think, will be decided probably in the next 10 moves. So maybe not the actual result, but basically who gets the advantage and who is going to be clearly ahead and in the driver's seat. I really like this bishop d8 move by Hutch. It's not the best move objectively, but it's a very classy move just to bring the knight into the game, get your king out of the center. And I think Hutch is in very good shape right now if he finds the correct way of developing this light square bishop with bishop b7 and a pawn to d4 at the right moment.
Right, he's fixing all of the positional problems we talked about earlier with the awkward development of his knight. So if he was able to find that, I'm not going to be surprised when he finds a move like bishop b7 and he starts activating his rook into the middle game as well.
Right, correct. Yeah. So, I mean, at this point, I think I don't know. I think it's anyone's game. I just as much as I can do like high level commentary, I'm trying to keep it at a certain level. And when I think about the position that both players have, I don't think the plans are obvious, but I do think Black's plan is more obvious than White's plan. So that's the main reason I think at this point in time, Hutch should be better, but it's hard.
Okay, well,
at a certain level, yes.
So you're right. The time situation is so close. It's complicated for both sides here. In terms of trying to find straightforward plans, there's still a couple moves. I like rook d1 because he's improving the position of his rook. At some point, voyboy can also improve the position of his knight on b1. I think it's going to become even more difficult once they've finished their full development here. So, Hutch also castles and takes out his bishops.
Yeah, right. Agreed. So yeah, I think, I mean, again, the thing is, if you're playing the white pieces, what you objectively want to do is put a pawn on c4 and then bring the knight out behind it. But I think that's way too deep of a concept, and it's a very hard concept to understand because the reasoning behind doing that is that you basically try to close both the bishops out of the game. So white is doing okay, but the ideas feel really hard to find to me, at least when I just think about this.
That's fair. Let's take a listen on Hutch and see if we can get any insight into his plan here.
I like that move. That's a good move by him. Very aggressive.
All right, so
He is so quiet. So quiet.
you're not used to seeing this, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it shows you how serious the players are now. It's just like they're so quiet. They're just so focused at what's going on. It's like every bit of energy they have, they're just using it to concentrate and focus
Now,
on
if
the
I
best
push, does he
move.
sack? No.
And it's good that he played h6 instead of taking
So
the
he wants to
bishop
trade down
and
these
helping
bishops?
bring
Fine.
voyboy's pieces into the
Let's
attack.
take some of this pressure off.
Mm-hmm.
Still, both players so close on the clock. I don't think we've ever seen players this close just throughout the game in terms of their time situation.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, at this point.
And then my game's like not terrible.
Whoa.
I don't know what
is
Hikaru's
G4?
saying about my game right now.
Whoa. What is G4? That's crazy.
Powerful move.
It's probably not a bad move, but it feels really insane to go all in for the attack here. But this is very tricky here for both sides.
Right. I mean, so if voyboy thought that his position was worse, but I feel like it's hard to tell how much worse your position is at this stage because it's still very complicated. So it doesn't seem like it made sense for him to go for some kind of desperado or last ditch attempt. And if he didn't calculate it all the way through, then this might very well lead to his unwinding.
Correct. Yeah. So, I mean, I like the concept. I think it's very tricky for both players here. I think black is probably winning if you take the bishop with the pawn here, but it's very hard to do this. Like pawn takes knight, or pawn takes bishop, pawn takes knight, and then pawn to g4 is probably winning for black, but very, very hard to calculate this correctly with the amount of time on the clock.
True. So Hutch is just here calculating. He's looking at both of those captures from what I see on his board. What else does he have to consider here? Because when you're sitting on this position, you just try to come up with some options, right? So he probably sees his knight is under attack. He can technically consider moving it, but then his pawn on h6 looks very vulnerable. H takes g5 is certainly the number one variation he has to calculate. So I guess it's good that he's taking his time here. That's probably what he's doing.
Right, and I think it's important because if you move the knight backwards, and white can then white can. Wow, what is f6?
F6?
Oh, what a move. Wow, this is crazy. Let's see. Okay, so now I think f6 is actually a very good move, but I don't think Hutch sees everything behind it. I think it's actually a very good move, but I don't think that I'm sure that he doesn't see the whole idea behind it. Now, the thing here is he should take the bishop, I think, again. He has to take the bishop here. It's imperative, or else, wait, isn't he just down a piece?
Yeah, because he didn't.
Although he's going to end up getting rook takes knight, and now he's the one attacking white's open king. So this is actually going to be very interesting.
It definitely is going to be interesting, but he did miss the key there of making sure that he took a piece back, because if his attack doesn't pan out now, he's just down material. But you're right. It's a very scary attack.
This is brilliant by Hutch. It's not like he intended this, but this is brilliant. Because
it's unintentionally brilliant.
Yeah, because the thing is, you can move the bishop to b7 and swing your other rook over, and the white king is completely open. I think he's actually completely winning here.
Well, it's going to be brilliant if he sees it. He has to have the follow-up. It reminds me of when, students would find fantastic tactics. Well, they'd find the first move without the full plan, and that obviously never works.
If he saw this, I will be very seriously impressed if he saw his whole line through. And I think we'll know right away if he did, because his next couple of moves should be really straightforward, like bishop to b7 and swing the rook to f8. And this is where we're going to see whether he really saw the idea or not. So if he saw the idea, his next like 2 to 3 moves should be boom, boom, boom.
Well, this is another great moment to listen on his stream. I want to see if this is what he's going for. He's hovering over b7. Wow. Okay, he played bishop e7. Hikaru, prepare to be impressed. Chat, yeah, he deserves your excitement right now. And he's going to play rook f8.
Wow, this is masterful. I mean, I don't know what the evaluation is objectively, but I think this is going to be very hard for voyboy to play correctly, because his king is going to be under a lot of pressure immediately here.
Could be worse.
He said could be worse.
With this pawn here.
I think Hutch is still a little bit worried by his position here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said
Ooh.
before, oh no,
D
no, no,
D5,
no, no.
D4.
Opportunities for
E5 to
counterplay.
E4,
Sorry,
E5,
yeah,
E4.
that's what I meant. Yeah.
D4 is good. E5, E4 is good. All the pawn, even C4, I think is good here too. But oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, uh-oh.
And the reason this is really scary, so now the knight is attacked 3 times. If the knight ever moves, then the pawn on F2 is hanging. I mean, he can bring his queen in on the attack as well. Maybe it would have been better to do that after getting rid of the knight.
Queen C6 is a great move, though. All moves lead to Rome here for Hutch, but Queen C6 is really good because now the sacrifice becomes very obvious. Although maybe White can play Rook G1 here and create some mating threats with a Queen G6 idea down the road.
Yeah, that would be some good counterplay. He might as well try to go for it at this stage. Hutch is so quiet. He's so focused.
This is a
Yeah, Bishop
strange
takes F3 was
position.
actually winning for sure with Bishop taking them moving the queen, but this also, I mean, voyboy.
Am I better in this position? I feel like I'm better in this position.
Voyboy really likes to be the guy attacking, and so here he's having to defend, which I think makes this really, really unpleasant.
Is he not in trouble?
And I think he's much stronger attacking than defending when his king.
Attacking him 4 times, he's defending it. If he moves, that's a devastating check. And I think I'm winning. I'm sure I've missed something right now. Botez and Hikaru are both like, no.
No. Botez and Hikaru are proud of you, Hutch. You've played incredibly.
I got him thinking.
This has been really incredible. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't think Hutch understood the strength of the idea when he went into it, but the way that he's played this game after that pawn to G4 is great. It's way beyond 1400 for sure. So
yeah, what would you put his rating performance at for this game?
I mean, I don't know if you can say it's the performance, but like the idea that he saw is what really matters. And the fact that he understood that he could actually give up this piece and activate the bishop. This has been more or less a model game. Yes, a couple of the last moves haven't been the absolute best moves, so voyboy had some shots at getting some counterplay here. But overall, this is a model game and something that certainly I would be showing to young children who are trying to learn the game of chess, because Hutch has played a model game so far.
Oh, well, that's amazing. And I mean, as you mentioned, so Rook F1, voyboy is trying to defend that F2 square in the future. He has the really straightforward idea now of just taking the knight, which he goes for. It makes sense. Because he will be able to get 2 knights for just a rook, but on top of that, he still has his attack, which is even more important.
Right. I mean, at the same time, however, voyboy might be able to escape with his king towards the center of the board, but this is looking very tough, very, very difficult sort of position. Okay, now he blunders with Queen G6. He should have taken the rook, because now Hutch can move the rook back and just move the rook back to F6 and attack the queen. And then he's going to be ahead by or I guess it's even, no, he's ahead by 1 pawn, and the white king is completely open. So yeah, Hutch is playing a great game. And this is what I think we were expecting to see out of Hutch yesterday. A little bit of a hiccup, but he's playing some fantastic chess right now.
And voyboy is doing his best to defend here. Let's listen on his stream and see what his hopes are. He's under 2 minutes on the clock now. Still very focused. He's trying to do his best to defend in just such a difficult position. Yeah, he's not even talking. He's not saying a single word. He's just putting, his entire brain usage into this game, as he should, because there's still chances to save it. His king might get an escape square if Hutch doesn't play it accurately and he plays it maybe too slowly, let's say.
Rook takes, knight takes, rook takes, rook takes, queen takes, bishop takes.
And what do you think voyboy's best chance to try to survive this game would be?
If he can get in his other rook to E1 and get his king manually castled to the other side of the board, he'll have a shot. But he needs rook to E1 and then swing the king behind it. That's the only way that I think he can maybe get chances to win. I'm very concerned. I mean, if Hutch plays pawn to e5 here, I don't like this move, however. Queen to d5. Oh, wait, no. Hutch is playing for queen h5 check. Oh, very mean. So now I wanted to go rook e1, but then if I go rook e1, you have queen to h5 check, and the king can't escape.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess he has to go for f3, but then as soon as the king moves to d1, the f3 pawn would hang.
Okay, now if Hutch finds queen h5, I think it's game over basically here. C4 is a try, but really the only idea he had was to manually castle the king. And if Hutch sees queen h5 again on the next turn, I think it's pretty much game over for voyboy.
After queen takes c3?
Yes. I mean, it's probably winning no matter what black does, but it's probably the cleanest, quickest way to win the game here for Hutch. And I think as long as Hutch makes these moves relatively quickly and doesn't let the time even out here, he's going to win.
And I mean, he made a move like queen d5, which wouldn't have had a lot of other ideas. Oh, I was going to say that's why I expected queen h5, but queen g2, I guess, also makes sense. He's putting pressure on f2. He's attacking it 3 times. It's defended twice, so voyboy has to play something like queen e3, bringing in another defender. But even at that stage, I feel like he can try to bring his bishop in with a5, bishop a6. It's just too many pieces on the white king.
Right, but white can play queen g3 here, which is also a good move to try and stay in the game. It's probably losing, but okay, so he takes the pawn, and I feel like Hutch just has to find a couple of good moves here, and he should win the game.
Yeah,
but
and
it's not easy though. It's not easy at all.
Okay, but he does find queen g4. We were waiting for this move. F3 does make sense, although he can just take it because it's attacked 4 times. I'm just going to draw the arrows, and it's only defended 3 times. So yeah, really, really tough position, but incredible game by Hutch. And I think it all came down to as soon as voyboy made that mistake with h4,
and now bishop e2 would win the game. Will Hutch see it or not?
I mean, he's seen so many good moves so far. Rook d8 is probably more intuitive, although the follow-up is harder because now the king is almost getting to safety.
Right. No, the king has gotten to safety basically. So now I mean, I think Hutch still should win the game because of the time situation, but say like a move like pawn to e5 here, which I think is very good, is very hard move to play. Yeah, now I mean it's still winning, but it's not going to be easy here for Hutch to win.
Yeah, the reason why e5 you mentioned is because then you could bring the rook to c8. It would be protected by the queen. He goes for a similar idea with rook f8, where he is preparing c8 here.
Okay, and voyboy takes. Okay, so now, yeah, knight c4 was actually, I wonder if white could have tried to survive. Now probably queen f6 check. It would be winning.
And it's interesting because if you look at the piece count, Hutch is only up a pawn. So like say in a crazy situation where he trades off all the pieces, he does have some draw chances.
It's going to be very tricky here. This I don't like at all. What is this move?
This is what I was talking about. This is going to give voyboy drawing chances.
Yeah,
he just needs to trade the queen.
Now I don't know what's going on at all.
Uh-oh.
Wow, this is going
to... Why doesn't he take it?
Yeah, this is going to be very choppy now. So probably queen a5 check and rook d2 is winning here. Will Hutch see it is a big question.
Well, let's listen on his stream and see if he's finding these moves. Oh, he's just so quiet. Well, you can continue explaining on top then.
Yeah, this is going to be very... I mean, I don't even know who's going to win this game at this point. I think Hutch should win if he can exchange the queens, because he's going to have his pawns going forward now, and his rook will be very aggressive. Whereas in the other position, he would have had to use his rook as a defender. Here, it's going to be an attacker to try and take the white pawns. Okay, now oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, no!
Oh, voyboy, no! The queen blunder.
Voyboy forgot that his name is Jodat. His name is not Alexandra.
Okay,
oh, no.
Hikaru. Oh, man. That is a rough finish for voyboy, and he had the thing is he had chances to recover. I'm just gonna go back to that one point where it just seemed
Oh man. Oh, that's so brutal. Cause like he almost came all the way back, and he actually probably was not even losing if he traded the queens here and moved the king up. So really, really, really brutal game to lose after he came all the way back from a completely losing position. So very very rough. But I think now everybody kind of has lost the game. So we're gonna see how strong voyboy's mental is here and whether he can recover, because this is going to be tough since he has not lost a game yet.
Right. Except for that game with E-Rob, but we won't count that one.
Right.
So
Right.
voyboy is now going to have the black pieces. Hutch is going to have the white pieces. It is 1-0 in Hutch's favor. And he was just telling his chat, don't freak out yet. It's not over. And that's absolutely the right mindset to have. You don't want to get too confident or too comfortable. You got to take every game as seriously as the first one.
Right. Definitely true.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't even know.
So do you think he should tweak his strategy at all? He just
when
needs
I was down on
at
material,
least
like
draw.
I somehow got
and, you know,
crazy good
this
compensation.
Is a question that we haven't really asked at the lower ratings, but they're at the stage where he can try to go for something more solid.
Yeah, I mean, I think actually that's one thing that plays to Hutch's favor, is that he is one of these guys who plays a d4, the pawn push in front of the queen to start the game. He tends to have a very kind of classical and elegant opening style, so I think that's definitely a big plus for him. But again, the match is I mean, the match is still only one game, and you never know how they're going to respond to the pressure. So
there's some funny comments in the Chess.com chat saying Bota's gambit declined his best, but Bota's gambit accepted is a blunder.
Right. And I also know someone else said that voyboy's mental is much stronger, considering that he played LCS, which I think in a way is true. Voyboy certainly has had more competitive, as a former professional league player. He's had more like competitive experience, even if it's not in chess, but sort of facing a lot of adversity. So I think his mental should be pretty good here. He should be pretty strong. It's just important that he stays focused and tries to find the best moves.
Well, the games are off, and we have what looks like a King's Indian from voyboy. I didn't even know he played this against d4. It's a hard opening to play very early on, I think, because you end up having your dark squared bishop blocked, and you can get a nice kind of kingside attack, but you're often down so much space early on. Pawn attack.
Oh my gosh! As soon as I start saying really good things about Hutch's openings, he decides that, he wants to play the most aggressive system against the King's Indian defense, which is this 4 pawns attack. You put the 4 pawns in the center. I do not like this at all, considering the situation where he's ahead 1-0. There's certain openings that I think are it's just very, very, it's very aggressive, and you try to win the game. You try to take the center and like put a chokehold on your opponent. But again, your center pawns are very exposed. They're very advanced, so your opponent can attack them really easily. So, I mean, if Hutch knows this very well, I think he'll be fine. But I think it's a very, very dangerous opening choice to play in a game where you just need to be very solid and stable, because this is going to lend itself to a lot of tactics, a very, very aggressive approach from both players, and I think anything can happen.
Although,
he plays e5, which is not the correct move. I was
going to say that they both played theory until here. I was impressed with voyboy finding e6, but e5 is the first deviation, and it goes to show what you were just saying. He might not know this line that well, and if that's the case, it's a very risky choice when he has the white pieces and he just needs a draw.
Right. So I mean, I feel like I looked at this line maybe about like 17 years ago, maybe-ish. I was probably about 13. I think I was studying this 4 pawns with my stepfather, and we looked at a line here which I think goes knight g4. It's like knight g4, and I think it's bishop g5, queen b6. I think it is. It's bishop g5, or maybe it's bishop f4. What's the order? I'm trying to remember how this line goes. Oh no, it's slightly different. It's a line with bishop
come on, how can you not remember something from 17 years ago?
Wait, no, but what is Hutch doing? What is Hutch doing? He's throwing this game. What is he doing? Why is he playing like this? This is not how you play the 4 pawns.
Yeah,
he's just losing the opening. Knight takes knight and queen h4 check, and it's finished. It's a completely finished. Game over.
Oof, I don't know why he picked this opening. Let's listen in on him. Maybe he has something to say. Let's go. He's just quiet. He's as quiet as I am after that. I don't know what to say.
Hey, I have a check that I need to concern myself with.
Yeesh. Eek. Eek, eek, eek. Yeah, I mean, the problem here is that basically his center has completely collapsed, and after black takes the pawn and moves the rook to over one square, everything is going to collapse almost instantly for white.
Right, and that's the main theme in the 4-pawn, and the fact that voyboy knew the e6 idea makes me think that he's for sure going to know the idea of trying to open up the center, get your rook on the open file before your opponent can castle here.
Now,
yeah,
the question is when he takes this, do I take with the pawn or do I take with the...
If voyboy sees rook to e8 or pawn takes pawn
the knight, if I take with the pawn,
I think he will win this game.
Kind of hampers him a little bit.
Easily. But he has to find it first, and there's no guarantee that he will.
Take with the knight, I'm ready to, like, hop into an attack if I need to. I made this move here because if, like, so take queen and then check, I can come down here. Oh boy, this is all kinds of bad.
Oh no.
Okay, but it's not a bad move. I mean, the thing is that the white's position is so exposed here that black has time at least to take it slower.
But it's not the move that bothers me. It's that maybe he didn't see the idea, and that's a bigger problem. If he doesn't go for it at any point, he does have to take d5 at some point.
I guess so. The thing is, he can still put the bishop on b7 as well to attack the center. It's not the most precise attack, but he is ahead by one pawn. So I think voyboy is in good shape.
Not as bad as I thought.
But he's just got to stay very calm and really try not to panic at any point, because again, he's behind 1-0. But this is a slow game, and he's got a lot of time here to work it out. So I think voyboy just needs to be confident, stay focused, and good things should happen.
Okay, well, now it's Hutch's turn to play here. Is there anything he can try to do? I mean, he wants to castle as quickly as possible, so he does want to take his bishop out at some point. Do you think he should get rid of the knight on e5 first?
No, he should definitely move the bishop to e2, because then he can capture with the bishop and then attack the rook all the way down that long diagonal potentially. So, so he does go bishop e2.
Okay, so he's going for it.
Right. So now it's very important that voyboy goes bishop to b7.
And the thing is, so the queen wants to hop on h4. He can also take the knight, bishop takes, and move the queen to h4. If he comes bishop f1, is queen takes c4 too risky, or does that look like a good line for voyboy here?
Sorry, which one?
So knight takes f3, bishop
h4?
Takes f3, and queen h4.
I mean, maybe it's okay, but white can go bishop to f2, and then when you capture the pawn on c4, white takes the pawn on e6 with the discovery on the rook on a8. So I think it's probably okay for black, but it gets very complicated, and then anything can happen.
Right. It's a very messy position, but it's also exciting because then white's king is still in the center of the board. But totally, he does. Voyboy doesn't want to risk losing here, so he shouldn't go for that kind of crazy line.
Well, no, he actually should, in a way. Well, I mean, he should do stuff that leads to where he can win the game. Because winning or losing is fine. Just make sure that he has chances to win no matter what. So even if he does something that's maybe a blunder objectively, it's still a good choice because the draw gets him nothing. He has to win this game. There's only one result that works for him.
I mean, while that's true, he can go for pushing for a win in variations that make him less likely to lose as well, because he still has really good chances here.
What?
Oh no, a full blunder.
No.
Oh, that's really, really rough. Oh my gosh, he just resigned, Hikaru. We got a resignation. It's going to the tiebreaks.
Wow.
All right.
One thing I've noticed that I think is kind of interesting is in most of these matches, maybe every single match where you've had
Tsunami.
Favorite,
I told you guys not to let me play that opening.
Game, it feels like their opponent has kind of just something has gone wrong in that second game. Like whether it's like the disbelief at winning that first game or it's just the overall pressure, it feels like something has always gone wrong in that second game. So like, for example, you look at XQC, his second game really went wrong early. You look at Nim against Hutch after a brilliant first game, second game went wrong. Slicker, another example, won a game, and the second game he kind of tilted as well. So I think maybe it's just some of the players, because they don't expect to win, when they get that first win, they breathe a sigh of relief and they kind of kick back and relax a little bit too much. And then they lose that second game, and then you end up with the blitz game where anything really can happen.
But the reason that I'm surprised to have seen this is because we listened in on Hutch's stream and he was saying it's not over yet. I still have to focus. So it seemed like he had the right mindset. But then the opening he played with and the speed and the blunders just did not live up to what his words were saying.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, I thought the opening choice was just way too aggressive by Hutch in a game where he should be more stable and more solid. Mind you, the King's Indian defense is not an opening you see very much at this level, but nonetheless, it felt too aggressive. It felt sort of out of sync with what his style normally is, and the fact that voyboy knew how to attack his center at the very start played a very critical role in him going wrong and not finding the right continuations.
Well, the next game is going to start in the next 3 minutes or so. We are going to have the tie breaks. It's going to be 3-0 time control. Voyboy is going to have the white pieces versus Hutch, who's going to have the black pieces because Voyboy has been higher in the standings so far. So this is going to be exciting. The second tie break of the day. We've honestly just been in for a really exciting finale. All right. Well, Voyboy versus Hutch. We've talked about how close this is in 3-0. Which one of them do you think has the edge?
I think it's pretty close. I would say that that I think Voyboy has the advantage. He seems to be a little bit sharper tactically. So I think that Voyboy should be the favorite, but it's going to be a very close match. I don't think it's I think it's a matter of who controls their nerves at the very start of the game for the first 10 to 15 moves. And then when they get the time advantage, not letting it slip away. So it's whoever finds the best moves in the quickest amount of time at this point, because both players have shown that they're very capable of finding good moves, and it's just going to be a lot of fun to see.
What about psychological factors? Do you think it's going to be more difficult for Hutch because he's just coming out of a very quick loss?
I don't think it will make that big of a difference, because certainly when these guys are playing, I don't think you're in a situation where you know necessarily that you're as good as your opponent or you're better or you're worse. You never really have this great idea. Whereas, for example, if I play a game, I'm usually playing someone in my rating range where I literally feel like when you get that advantage, you don't want to let it slip away. So in this sort of situation, I don't think it matters as much per se. And I think the fact that Hutch lost the game quickly and just making a blunder is much better than say getting outplayed and ending up in a really bad position.
I mean, I agree with that. And I just want to take it back for a second because this has been a super exciting tournament. I'm honestly really happy that Chess.com and Twitch put it together. And chat, if you guys are watching and you haven't followed the Chess.com account yet, don't spam no in the chat. Okay, just go and hit that follow button. And on that note, we're also going to take a listen on Voyboy's stream.
Okay, got this.
Chat, you guys are so predictable,
we got
you
this,
know?
Boys. Hey, pause in
Keep
chat.
spamming no. Go ahead.
Run it back.
Listen
Game
to
3.
Me. Keep putting
Grand
it
Finals tiebreak. All right, I'm ready.
And the game has started.
Here we go. Here we go.
Oh no, they just move so quickly, and what we saw last time is they moved too fast between XQC and Ludwig, and mistakes were made.
Exactly. Yeah. So okay. So normal opening here. Open Sicilian. Bishop C5 played by Hutch. A little bit of a rare move. Kind of Knight B5. Good move by Voyboy.
Okay. We're back.
All right. Yeah. So we're back. Okay. All right. So in this position, probably Hutch has to find a way to activate this light square bishop. Probably playing pawn to B5 and bishop to B7 would be the best way to play this. But again, this feels very much in Voyboy's style here. Just pushing the pawn on the king side, like F4, F5 with bishop H6 ideas. Just a very, very, very good position for Voyboy. And I think he's doing well.
Okay, well, like you mentioned, he's also up on the time. Bishop F4 I don't like because he was almost about to give away his bishop pair, which is one of the advantages in his position. But I do like the speed with which he's playing.
Yeah, I think at this point, Voyboy has gotten a position that looks very natural. Whereas I think for Hutch, it's a lot harder to play this position.
Oh no, Queen E4 attacking the rook and checkmate. He just blundered. It's over. If he sees it.
Okay, he goes rook E3. Okay, so we're still on the edge of our seat here. Okay, so Queen G3. I feel like it's going to be very easy, though, again, for voyboy to play. He can push the pawn to h4. He can bring the rook in. All of white's moves here feel very, very natural, whereas Hutch's moves don't feel natural at all to me. So now I would, okay, bishop e4, I guess, is okay. I don't love it. The main point being that at some point, black is going to push the f pawn to f5 and then trade the pieces. But this now takes, and knight e4 should be crushing for white. Or h4, h5 also is very, very good.
Yeah, I mean, I generally agree with the attack ideas. It just feels like he's been slowly giving the advantage back.
Right, yeah.
Let's listen in on Hutch, see what he has to say here. Or what he's just thinking, and we can just continue our analysis.
Okay, h4 is a great move.
Oh, wow. This is really intimidating. Can he just continue with h4 here? Now e5 is hanging, actually. He has to be a little bit careful. Maybe he has to bring the rook back to e3.
Queen c7 is an excellent move here. And now he should play pawn to f5. If he plays pawn to f5, he's going to be doing very, very well, I think.
Although he has 1 minute on the clock.
Oh, no. Oh, no. He blundered the fork.
Voyboy blundered, but Voyboy is up 30 seconds on the clock. It could still be anybody's game here. I mean, Hutch is going to really have to play faster.
Right. h6 is a good move. Now, whoa, this is going to be close.
Ooh.
Okay, so Hutch can take this pawn. He doesn't. Okay, now rook d6. Okay, trades. Okay. I don't like this trade, though. I don't like this trade.
I like the fact that he's playing fast, though. I think that's almost more important. He has to try to get Voyboy the same amount of time on his clock here, because 40 seconds is terrifying.
Okay, so it's got to go. Okay, you got to go. Voyboy needs to move fast. He's losing on the board, so he needs to move quicker. Oh, man. Hutch has got to go. He's got to go. He's got 30 seconds. You got to go. You got to go.
Come on, Hutch. No increment here.
Ooh.
Oh, no. He's taking way too long.
You got to go. You got to go. You got to go. Well, that's what everyone wanted to see anyway. Okay.
the close time scramble.
B4.
B4.
Yeah.
I hope he pre-moves. Show us you have your pre-moves on, Hutch. Oh, why didn't he pre-move? That makes me nervous. But he's about to take C2. 23 seconds, though, Hikaru. Oh, my gosh.
Gotta move. Make a queen move. Make a check.
Okay.
Okay, 20 seconds. So here we go. Rook C2. Okay. Is he going to sack the rook for the knight? He should sack the rook for the knight.
15 seconds. Okay. Yeah, he can at least get a draw then. If he trades off all of his pawns with 14 seconds, you want to first get the draw chances in there. Make sure you don't flag.
You gotta go. You gotta go.
Take the pawn. Take all the pawns. Take all the pawns.
Push the pawn. Push the pawn. Push the pawn.
Ah, oh my god. 8 seconds. Okay, just leave the knight on the board and take the 2 pawns. Get a draw.
Take the pawn. G4.
3 seconds. Oh my god.
Oh, he blundered it. Oh my gosh. Take the pawn. Oh.
And Voyboy is the winner. He came in even in a worse position. He was faster in the 3-0 time control. He won by the dirty flag, but that is something that you always have to take into account. He was playing faster and it paid off, but oh my gosh, that was a close game. If Hutch would have only gotten rid of the 2 pawns, he would have at least gotten a draw here.
Right, yeah. He should have taken the pawn on G3 rather than exchanging the rook for the knight. Just an unfortunate mental slip at the end there, but someone had to win the game, and Voyboy certainly played very well, so he did deserve to win the event.
Yeah, and this was the close game, the tiebreaker that everyone was waiting for. So I mean, huge shout out to both Hutch and Voyboy for putting their all out there and making it exciting for the fans.
Yeah.
Well, chat, hang around because we have one more final today. The consolation bracket winner will also be determined. The game between Ludwig and Moist Critical. We already have the champion now of the champion bracket. So that is Voyboy with Hutch in second. But there will be one more decisive result today. So I think, overall, I was still really, really impressed with both of these 2 players.
Yeah, I think they definitely showed they belonged in the final, and it's unfortunate somebody had to win and somebody had to lose. Feel very bad for Hutch because he should have won that final game, especially. But again, The clock is a part of the game in blitz chess, and he was a little bit too slow at some of the critical moments. So therefore, I mean, I certainly think voyboy, he found the right moves at the end, and he found a way to win the game.
We are back. We are joined by Hutch and voyboy. Let me start off by congratulating you, voyboy. Congratulations, you are the PogChamps champion.
Congrats, dude.
Thank you. Hey, Hutch, well played, man. That was some of the hardest chess ever, dude.
Yeah, same
Could have gone either
too.
way.
That first game was crazy, man.
I know. You had me sweating. I was on the ropes. I was like shaking, dude. That was such a good attack. That's crazy.
Yeah, Hikaru, do you want to comment on Hutch's performance in the first game? I knew you were just so impressed.
Yeah, I was actually, one question I had specifically was that sacrifice of the knight intentional or not when you played this pawn push to f6?
Absolutely not.
Okay, because it was actually it was a brilliant idea. Like it was a really brilliant idea, and you followed it up with all the correct moves. So it just seemed like something that you had seen from far away, because it really was masterful. The way you attacked towards the white king.
Well, I watched a bunch of Chess Network commentating on Bobby Fischer games last night, so maybe some osmosis. No, I think it was accidental brilliance.
Okay, yeah, because it was just great, and actually it completely turned it around, because it looked like you were in a lot of trouble in that game, and then all your moves were great.
It took me a minute to like process that I had a winning position, because I was a piece down, and then I just kept on staring at the board. And it just occurred to me, I'm like, I think he's losing this game if I play correctly here.
Yeah, I was like that meme, the guy who's like, he's all happy, and then he like realizes something, and he's like, wait, what? I was like, oh, nice. I'm up a piece. Like, this is perfect. And I was like, wait, I really sacked like my whole king structure for this. Oh God, he's attacking me. Oh God, I gotta run. Oh, what's happening? That's kind of how it went down.
Yeah, and in that second game, so Hutch, Hikaru and I were a little bit surprised that you chose to go for the 4-pawn attack there. It seemed really aggressive and one of those more unsound opening choices. Can you tell us more about that decision?
Yeah, I knew that it was a bad idea to do that, but it's kind of a meme on my channel that I always push the pawn when they let me. And I knew that if I didn't do that, they would give me crap for it. So and then as soon as I dropped the pawn, I was like, well, I'm screwed now. There's like nothing I can do about this.
Well, you are a content creator first, so that does make a lot of sense. But that final game was so exciting. Oh my gosh. I mean, Hutch, you had the advantage, but you were down on the clock. voyboy, you were playing really quickly. A couple inaccuracies, but you took the lead. And, at the end there, it could have been anybody's game. I don't know. voyboy, I mean, how are you feeling when you saw that you were finally able to flag him?
Well, I mean, the whole time I wasn't really looking for like the best move. I was just trying to play like semi-accurately and try to put pressure on him, like go for the king side attack to make Hutch like have to think about how to defend against like my pieces coming in and stuff. So I think I kind of knew I was building up an advantage on the clock, and I kind of like missed the knight fork, and I think I might have missed like a winning play earlier too, but I was just pretty confident as long as I just kept playing like pretty good chess, not GM chess, just pretty good chess, I could win that way. So it was really close. It was an intense last game, but I'm happy I came out on top barely.
Yeah, Hutch, I mean, you also played that game incredibly. And at some point in the end game, we were thinking that you could have tried to just make sure you get the 2 pawns off the board so you'd at least have a draw. Was that a plan you thought of at all?
No, like not in the time pressure. Like I know about doing that, but it just didn't occur to me just because voyboy is such a strong blitz player, and he knows how to, like you were saying, make the semi-accurate moves that I have to address. Like he kept on checking me with the knight at the end there, just taking like a couple seconds off, but those couple seconds like add up when you do that over and over again. And by the time I looked at my clock, I was like, man, if I had like 10 seconds, I could for sure made him, and couldn't do it.
No, that's very well put. It is so hard to get used to these slower time controls. But Hutch, I saw that really wholesome tweet you put out about how you feel chess has been improving you as a person. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I've talked about it a bit before, but I think there's so much value to chess that goes beyond the board. Problem solving, creativity, pattern recognition. These are all characteristics and qualities that you can take with you off the board. And then also just the confidence too, because when you're starting out at chess, you're 400, 500 rated player or whatever, it's not too difficult to grind and study and then see like an incredible improvement really fast. And that can be really good for your self-esteem too. especially with kids. I think like the earlier you introduce chess to kids, the better off they're going to be. I think on average they get better grades. So I mean, I think it's a really wonderful thing that this tournament brought attention to the game and potentially got, thousands of people interested. I think that's great.
Yeah, and speaking of starting chess off young, we know voyboy did, and voyboy, obviously, you're a competitive league player. What was it like being in such a serious chess environment?
Yeah, I was gonna like add on to what Hutch said too. Like, my dad taught me how to play chess when I was like a little kid, and I loved it. It was the first time, like, I actually got to outplay like these old men, like my uncles and like aunts and like cousins and stuff. I would just be like 7 years old and just like playing chess with my dad and like trying to beat him, and then eventually I beat him, and then I started playing my family. And I love chess as a kid. Obviously, that does help me to be a better chess player now. I haven't played in like, so I basically quit playing when I was like 10 or something. But I definitely think like what Head Chess is super true. I think it helped me do better in school, like have a better strategic mind, like just thinking about problem solving skills and logic and stuff like that. And I think even like what you said, like being a professional League of Legends player, like I remember when I was like 16 years old and like playing League and like playing my first tournaments, like I was trying to like think, how can I break League down from like a chess level? How can I break like laning phase? Like how can I like gain tempo and like build an advantage and stuff? And I think those are things that actually helped me like be really good at League early on before a lot of people were thinking like such a strategic way. And yeah, it was an awesome experience. Sorry, I went off on like a random tangent, but it was an awesome experience to compete in chess PogChamps. Hutch is super, super good. I think we're both, deserved winners of all this, but I'm glad I barely came out on top. And yeah, just thanks to Chess.com and all the fans and everyone, all the GMs, all the people who helped coach us and made this event possible. And yeah, it's been nothing but fun, nothing but love. It's been super awesome to get back into chess again and kind of reignite a passion that was basically dormant since I was a kid. And to the thing about, can I keep going or am I taking too much time?
You finish. You should finish this thought. It's
okay. Okay. So I was gonna say what Hutch said is like you can like improve a lot in like a short period of time. Like if you look at like 2 weeks ago, I don't know, maybe I was like 12, maybe 1300 or something like that, and then I played like nonstop chess for the last 2 weeks, and now I'm like close to like 15, 1600, whatever. So if you look at that like improvement, like 300 elo in like 2 weeks. If I play for another 2 weeks, 1900, another 2 weeks, 2200, 2500, 2800. Hey, Hikaru, I'm saying next World Championships, you're gonna be seeing this peak beanie across the board. I'm coming for your spot, kid. I'm coming.
Dude, you and Box both. You both literally said that exact same thing.
Wait, he said that too? I didn't even know.
He was like,
that.
yeah, 400 points every week, same thing. But anyway, yeah, no, it's great though. And again, congrats to both of you guys. I think you both played phenomenally well. I mean, it's unfortunate there had to be a winner and a loser, but certainly like to Hutch, I mean, you've been around so long. You've been playing chess, I think, on Twitch for, I mean, what was it, like 5-6 years ago at least? And I'm not sure if you saw this, but one of the other competitors who's in the other final, Ludwig, he said that you actually inspired him. He saw you playing chess many years ago. So just thanks for everything you've done for chess and then for the community.
Yeah. I tried to get into Ludwig's game last night and teach him how to mate with a king and a queen, but I couldn't get it done. But like one more thing about chess that I do want to say, like real quick, I know we got to wrap up, but a couple good things about the game is that it forces you to confront your own mistakes and it forces you to consider your opponent's moves. And those are also two like really valuable skills that you can apply in so many different areas of your life. So I mean, there's just so many different ways that chess can help you out, I think.
Well, Hutch, voyboy, thank you guys so much. Voyboy, congratulations for the championship title, and Hutch, congratulations for runner-up. And I'm looking forward to watching you both get that 300-point elo gain week after week.
Thank you guys for doing such a good job commentating. You guys have done a really good job of making it funny and interesting and accessible. So good for you guys.
Well, appreciate it very much, and take care, both of you.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you. Good game, Hutch. See you guys.
Good game, man. Good game.